A long line of expensive vehicles rolled slowly toward the gates of Hope Academy, one of the most respected schools in the region. The morning sun reflected brightly off the polished black cars as students gathered near classroom windows, whispering among themselves. Teachers abandoned their conversations. Office workers stepped outside. Even the security guards stood straighter than usual. Something important was happening. The school had been struggling for months. Rumors had spread through the town like wildfire. Some people claimed the school would soon close its doors forever. Others believed a wealthy businessman had purchased the entire property, but nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew who was coming. Inside the administration building, Principal Kofi wiped sweat from his forehead as he repeatedly checked his wristwatch. His hands trembled slightly. This meeting could determine the future of the school. The teachers watched anxiously from nearby corridors. Students stood on tiptoe, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious visitor. Finally, the convoy stopped. The engines fell silent. For a brief moment, the entire school seemed frozen. Everyone stared at the lead vehicle. The driver stepped out first. Then another man exited from the front passenger seat. They quickly moved toward the rear door. Principal Kofi adjusted his tie. His heartbeat quickened. The rear door slowly opened. A polished black shoe touched the ground. Then another. A tall man stepped out, wearing an elegant dark suit. His sunglasses hid his eyes. His face remained calm, confident, powerful. Several teachers exchanged confused looks. The man seemed strangely familiar, but before anyone could recognize him, the story takes us back to a time when nobody would have imagined such a moment. Back to a small dusty road. Back to a little boy whose future seemed impossible. 10 years earlier, every morning before sunrise, a young boy named Daniel walked beside his father along the same road. The road led directly to Hope Academy, but neither of them attended the school. They simply stopped outside its gates. Daniel's father, Franklin, was a beggar. His clothes were old. His sandals were worn thin. His face carried the marks of hardship. Yet despite his struggles, there was always kindness in his eyes. Every day, he sat beneath a large tree opposite the school entrance. And every day, Daniel sat beside him. As expensive cars dropped students at the gate, Daniel watched with fascination. He admired their uniforms, their books, their confidence, their opportunities. Sometimes he imagined himself wearing the same uniform. Sometimes he imagined himself carrying books through those gates. Sometimes he imagined sitting inside those classrooms. But dreams were free. Education was not. One morning, as students entered the school compound, Daniel stared at a group of boys laughing together. Their uniforms were clean. Their shoes looked brand new. They carried backpacks filled with books. Daniel lowered his eyes and glanced at his own clothes. A faded shirt, worn shorts, bare feet. The difference felt enormous. "Father," Daniel asked quietly. Franklin looked up. "Yes, my son? Do you think I will ever go to a school like that?" Franklin remained silent for a moment. The question pierced his heart. More than anything else in the world, he wanted to say yes, but reality was cruel. He barely earned enough money to buy food. Some days they ate only once. Other days they went hungry. Yet he refused to let poverty steal his son's hope. He placed a gentle hand on Daniel's shoulder. "My son," he said softly, "a person's future is not decided by where they begin." Daniel listened carefully. Franklin smiled. "Never allow your current situation to convince you that your dreams are impossible." Daniel nodded slowly. Those words settled deep inside his heart. Words he would never forget. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Life remained difficult, but Daniel's determination continued to grow. Whenever discarded newspapers appeared on the roadside, he collected them. Whenever he found old books, he kept them. At night, he taught himself how to read. He practiced under weak lantern light. Sometimes he studied until his eyes burned. Sometimes he fell asleep while holding a book. But he never stopped trying. Then one afternoon, something happened that changed everything. School had just ended. Students poured through the gates. Daniel sat beneath the tree, reading an old textbook he had found several days earlier. He was completely focused, completely absorbed, until a shadow appeared above him. He looked up. 3 students stood nearby. The oldest among them folded his arms. "What are you reading?" he asked mockingly. Daniel hesitated. The boys exchanged amused glances. Another boy grabbed the book from Daniel's hands. The pages were worn and damaged. Several pages were missing entirely. The boys burst into laughter. "Look at this. He's pretending to be a student." More laughter followed. Daniel felt his face grow hot. The first boy flipped through the book. Then he looked toward Franklin. The old man sat quietly nearby, his head lowered. Embarrassment filled the air. "You should stop wasting your time," the boy sneered. "People like you don't belong in schools." The words struck Daniel like stones. The other students continued laughing. Some stopped to watch. Others pointed. Daniel desperately wanted to disappear. He reached for the book, but the boy pulled it away. Then, without warning, he dropped it into a muddy puddle beside the road. The damaged pages soaked instantly. The boys laughed even harder. Then they walked away, leaving Daniel frozen, leaving his dream lying in the mud. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Finally, Franklin slowly stood. He walked toward the puddle, carefully picked up the ruined book, and handed it back to his son. Daniel stared at the soaked pages. Tears filled his eyes. "I hate being poor," he whispered. Franklin's expression changed. Pain flashed across his face, not because of the insult, but because he understood exactly how his son felt. The old man knelt beside him. "Listen to me carefully." Daniel looked up. "There will always be people who judge you because of your circumstances." Franklin's voice remained calm. "But never allow them to define your value." The old man pointed toward the school. "One day, your education will speak louder than their laughter." Daniel swallowed hard. Franklin continued. "Promise me something." "What is it?" "Promise me that you will never stop learning." Daniel nodded. "I promise." The old man smiled. Neither of them realized how important that promise would become, because life was about to test them in ways neither could imagine. And before long, Franklin would make a sacrifice so great that it would alter the course of his son's future forever. But that sacrifice would come at a terrible cost.